Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this. Welcome to our class or lesson for EDUC 75. Today, I'll be discussing the two remaining topics that I mentioned last time. But let's start with developing of classroom assessment tools for measuring learning outcomes. So allow me to share my screen here. Okay. So I hope you can see my screen right now. So let's start with the learning objectives. By the end of the lesson, students will be able to develop a classroom assessment tools for measuring learning outcomes, understand and apply the guidelines in making table of specifications, follow the steps in constructing assessment tools. So let's start with the developing of classroom assessment tools for measuring learning outcomes. I already uploaded a module. It's actually a module 9, and that is more on the detailed version of this topic. But I hope you still watch the videos that I sent or I uploaded to our Google Classroom, the group, two remaining groups. So group number 3 and 4. So let's start. So traditionally, classroom assessment is mostly about teacher-made tests. So these tests are given to measure what students have learned after the lessons. So most classroom tests focus on the assessment of learning. So, 'di ba, ibig sabihin nun is checking how much content and skills yung students na kaya nilang ma-master para sa the final outcome. So, yung mga test na yun ay actually tinatawag na subject-centered approach. So, as we all know before, we are teacher-centered approach, but now we do have the student-centered approach where students' scores place them on a scale that shows how much they have achieved after the instruction. So, in simple terms, the goal of this assessment is to measure the achievement. Ano ba yung mga natutunan ng mga estudyante mo and ano ba yung pwede pang gawin ni teacher after niyang ituro yung lesson if it's effective or not. So, of course, yung test can also serve different purposes depending on how teachers design them. So, assessment in the classroom is also used for accountability, meaning ito yung ginagawa nating guide o dito natin makikita if yung student and teachers can perform during the teaching learning process. That's why it's really important to understand the developing of classroom assessment tools for measuring learning outcomes. So, of course, yung mga test na yun kasi nakakatulong siya to determine kung yung mga estudyante ay naiintindihan yung lesson and if the teacher is effective in delivering instruction. Ngayon, yung mga teachers na yun, they rely on tests. Ito yung mga tests na objective way to measure students' performance, sorry. And this practice is widely accepted by parents, school leaders, and other stakeholders. Okay, so let's start with the planning test. As you can see, sa isang classroom, they follow the same basic steps when developing any tool that measures learning or psychological skills. So yung mga experts, they agree that the test constructions usually involves with the three main purpose phases, sorry. So yung first phase natin is yung the purpose of the test. Ayan. So, purpose of the test, meron tayong tinatawag na planning test. Dito sa planning test, para kanino, bakit ba natin binibigay yung test? Of course, to check their understanding, para makapagbigay tayo ng grades, makapagbigay tayo ng instruction. Dito rin sa planning phase, the learning outcomes to assess anong specific skills or knowledge should students should know. Okay? And of course, dito na rin tayo gagawa ng TOS. Later on, um, we'll discuss the TOS or the table of specification. So it's like a guide or a blueprint that helps the teacher know how many items to create for each topic and skill level. Okay? So I hope you understand the planning phase. Next, we have the item construction phase. Dito naman, class, after planning, of course, dito ka na gagawa ng iyong exam. So, yung learning outcomes, dapat yung mga questions ay mag-match doon sa learning outcomes, yung correct format. Are you going to use the multiple choice exam, the essay type, true or false, etc. So this step focuses on building good quality items that actually measure what they should. 'Di ba? So it's very critical. Hindi lang pwedeng basta gumawa ng exam. Next, we have the review phase. Sa review phase naman, class, yung teacher or sometimes other teachers check the items to make sure they match the lesson content, match the intended skills or behaviors. Is it clear? Is it fair? Diba? Of course, it's very important that you have to review everything before you proceed to accomplishing your exam, 'di ba? Bago mo ibigay yung mga exam na yun, is it effective or is there like an any revision needed? Okay? I hope you understand the phase 1. Ngayon, next topic natin is yung succeeding phase, yung phase B and C. So, I'll be showing you the steps. As you can see, ayan yun, planning phase. Sorry. We have the planning phase, we have the item construction phase, and the review phase. So here, for the identifying purpose of test, dito naman, yung testing and assessment mechanism nila ay aims together, of course, to valid, is it a reliable information, is it useful to both learners and teachers for formative and summative purposes. We already discussed the differences between the two. Basta always remember, pag formative purpose is like to check learning while lessons are still ongoing. Pwedeng is it a recitation, pwedeng quiz, pwedeng activities. Yan, dun mo nakikita yung formative purposes. Next, the summative purposes is to evaluate learning at the end of a unit or a grading period. Ayan, dito na nagpapa-exam, dito ka na nagpapa-final performance task. Okay? So, don't need to discuss this one because you're already familiar about the formative assessment or it's like the during learning. Importance of item construction. So, ano bang halaga ng item construction? So, because assessments are used to diagnose learning issues, the type of questions teachers create is very important. So, for example, yung multiple choice questions, nakakatulong siya to spot kung ano yung mga students' misconception dun sa mismong topic na diniscuss mo. Ayan. For example, we have the options, option A, B, C, and D. So it can represent different errors students commonly make. So if many students choose the same wrong option, the teacher can easily identify the specific misunderstanding. Oh, so dito sila nahihirapan. So they thought ito yung part na gagamitin nila to, ganyan-ganyan. So, dun na. So, yun yung kadalasan ginagamit natin. That's why board exam, 'di ba wala pa namang, of course, lalo na sa teachers, board exam natin ay multiple choice questions. Talagang, ito yung pinakamahirap, sabi nila. Because, and I believe it is very hard because you are going to analyze the question at the same time the options that you have. Okay? So next, meron tayong mga tinatawag na mga alternatives, yung mga distractors, and yung mga test purpose. Ayan. So dito, of course, we all know yung mga multiple choice test. Alam natin na may isang mali dun. Automatic may isang hindi, not only once, sorry, yung tatlo dun ay mali. Okay? Pero nililito kayo, minsan related siya, parang maguguluhan kayo. So, the reason why ginagamit yun ng mga teachers is to see if you really understand the lesson. Okay? So, ganun lang din po yan. So, of course, we have to specify, next, we have to specify the learning outcomes. So, assessment has changed a lot because of new ideas in educational and cognitive psychology. So, yung mga changes na yun, natulungan niya i-improve how we design the curriculum and understand learning. So, how the understanding of learning has evolved. So, dati, we are more on, sorry, learning was seen mainly as memorizing facts. 'Di ba may mga gano'ng concept na 'pag marami kang memorize, matalino ka. Of course, oo, siguro given talaga 'yun na matalino ka, but now, we are practicing the critical thinking skills. 'Di ba hindi ka na lang basta nagme-memorize. You're not just memorizing facts, but of course, you interpret information, you apply concepts, you create new knowledge, 'di ba? Hindi na tayo kagaya dati. So, hindi na natin siya puwedeng i-define dun. That's why remembering, 'di ba, is like the phase or like the lowest part. It's like the easiest part kasi anyone can remember naman po unless talagang meron tayong, um, like an issue, 'di ba, na talagang hindi tayo hirap tayo maka-memorize. But it's everyone can do naman po, 'no? So, next. And importance of learning outcomes, and learning outcomes state what students should know and be able to do. Like they follow the hierarchy of thinking skills, like the from simple to complex. Yung outcomes guide the content, the type of tasks expected from students, and assessment help track if students are meeting curriculum standards. Ayan. So, meron tayong mga different type of learning targets. Yung mga assessment natin, pwede natin siya makita if knowledge facts, understanding explanations, skills processes, what students can do, yung mga higher order thinking skills, ito na yung analyzing, creating, of course, the products, the outputs, and the real life application. So, yun yung mga different types of learning targets. Matching assessment of learning outcomes. Outcomes must be clearly behavior, content, level of thinking. So teachers must choose appropriate assessment methods that match the skill being tested. We cannot just give an assessment na trip mo lang, ito kasi madaling gawin. Hindi po pwedeng ganon. Dapat magmamatch siya sa kaanong kailangan ng mga estudyante, lalo na dun sa topic na yun. Okay? So, yan, we already know the summative assessment and the pre-assessment or the diagnostic. And of course, it's really, really important to have a feedback. Feedback for students is very important because it shows students how they are learning and progressing. So, it helps them identify the areas to improve. So, I hope na intindihan na po natin yung first part ng ating discussion. Now, let's proceed to preparing a test blueprint. So, ano ba yung purpose ng test blueprint? So, before making a test, the teacher must clearly decide what learning outcomes will be assessed, how these outcomes will be assessed, and what the classroom test covers. Ito yung mga test blueprints or tinatawag din nating TOS, ayan, or Table of Specifications. Now, ayan, a test blueprint, also called a TOS, a two-way table that shows what will be tested, ano yung mga content areas na kailangan i-test, and paano mo siya gagawin, ano yung mga learning outcomes, ano yung mga question types. So, ano ba yung mga kasama sa TOS? Of course, the coverage or content areas, the sampling of learning outcomes, alignment of the curriculum, is it aligned to our CG or curriculum guide? Ano yung type of exam? Multiple choice ba siya? Performance test? Ano bang klase yan? And of course, fair distribution of test items. Hindi pwedeng mas lamang si ganito, hindi pwedeng mas lamang si kanya. Okay, later on you'll understand what is TOS all about and how are you going to compute or create your own TOS. So, yeah, let's skip that one, but it's more on understanding of TOS, but later on I'll explain it. So, yung TOS takes different form from depending on what the teacher wants to show. With only one element, yung mga objectives and skills in the TOS. So, first, meron tayong tinatawag na simple one-way TOS. So I'll explain. For a simple one-way TOS, from the word itself, simple one-way, only one element, usually skills or objectives. Ito, nakikita nyo ba yan? For example, identify the statements with errors in verb use. Ayan. So, ilang number of items or points siya? So, 10 points. So, it does not show content areas, only skills. Para ito yung pinaka-basic na TOS, type of TOS. Usually, nagagamit po siya sa mga skill-based subjects like English, reading, language. Ayan, when the teacher wants to focus only on skills, not topics. Skills lang ang gusto niya. Next, for example, prepare a news article reporting a past school activity. 'Di ba? It's more on skills. Yun po yung kanyang hinahanap. Hindi siya nag-focus dun sa topics. So, for you to understand it or for you to remember it, for you to comprehend it, easy idea. This test checks skills only. Again, this test checks skills only. That's why it's simple one-way TOS. Okay, next. Meron naman tayong tinatawag na two-way TOS. Dito, dalawa na yung element na kinukuha mo. Kung kanina, kung kanina, skills lang, ngayon, kumukuha ka na rin ng test format at content. Okay. Sa content, ano yung mismong topic? For example, verb usage or verb usage. Ano yung outcome na gusto mo or skill na makuha ng mga estudyante? They need to identify the statements with errors in verb use. Anong klaseng format siya? Is it objective type or performance? Next, the number of items. As you can see here, communicative writing, they have to prepare a news article reporting a past school activity. Hindi naman siya pwedeng objective. They have to perform. Okay, so mas malaki siya. That's why it's 20 points. So, of course, you always remember the total points, which is 40. Ano bang pinapakita dito? Yung topic, yung outcome, and number of items points. Ayan, ginagamit siya ng mga teachers to balance what topic is tested and what skills students must show. Easy idea for you to remember and understand. This test checks topics and skills. Okay? So next, we have the expanded TOS. So in expanded TOS, it's more a detailed version of two-way TOS. Ayan, kung makikita nyo, meron na siyang subject area. Meron pa rin siya subject area, sorry. Same lang siya dito. May content. Ayan. So, verb usage siya. Anong outcome? Same pa rin. Identify the statements with errors in verb uses or use. Anong klaseng exam? Di ba sabi objective? Ayun, anong klaseng exam siya? Ang gusto nilang gawin ay alternate form. 10 items, 25%. Tapos next naman, supply the correct verb. Alam naman natin yon. Alam naman natin yon. That is 10 items, 25%. Okay? And pag yung babalikan natin, if communicative writing, gusto nila makuha is performance, you have to put the rubric. Okay? So, ito na po yung pinaka-points or how the students will be graded. Okay. So, next, easy idea. This test plan is detailed and well-balanced. Ayan. So, ito na yung mga other forms of test specification or TOS for a mastery test. According to Miller-Lin and Crowland 2009, presented a way of preparing a TOS for mastery testing. So, this type of TOS breaks down a broad learning outcome into smaller specific skills. Mas detailed siya. So, this type of TOS is especially useful for skill-oriented subjects such as mathematics and language. So, for example, the learning outcome use correct subject-verb agreement. It can be divided into more specific tasks for better diagnosis. Okay. So, it also makes it easier to set a mastery criterion, example, 80% correct. So, this type of test specification is rarely used in regular classroom setting. So, allow me to show you this TOS, ayan. For example, subject type, ganun pa rin. Mas detailed na nga siya, hindi lang siya basta content. First person subject, use correct verb forms, ilang points. Yan, and then number of items. Total items. So, ganun po siya. Hindi siya laging ginagamit. Okay? So, now, I'm going to teach you how to create a TOS. But of course, from our previous lesson or past lessons, ilang beses natin dinidiscuss yung Bloom's Revised Taxonomy. Diba? So, we have the levels, of course, remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Here, why is it important for you to master the Bloom's Revised Taxonomy? Kasi dito class, pag alam nyo na paano gamitin ang Bloom's Taxonomy, it's easier for you to understand or identify anong part mo ilalagay yung exam mo. Saan ba sa pasok? Sa analyzing, remembering, creating. Kaya dapat alam mo siya. Okay? Hindi mo siya kabisado. I'm not saying that you have to memorize everything. That is very old school class. Ang gusto kong gawin nyo is for you to understand it, comprehend it, apply it. Okay? So as you can see, meron tayong mga percentage. Ayan. So, suggested lang naman po ito. Suggested percentage allocation sa inyong exam. Okay? So now, I got this from one of the teachers, and I actually got this from YouTube, wherein this is an example of TOS. I do have an example of TOS, kaso medyo mahirap siya intindihin kasi minsan kasi sa ibang school, iba yung format, but only applicable pag private school. Pero pag public school, lahat iisa lang. So sa public school, ito na yung tinuro ko since for sure kayo ay magkakaroon kayo ng um ano tawag dito? OJT or yung inyong practice teaching. So dapat familiarize kayo kung paano kayo gumawa ng TOS. So let's start with the subject. Of course, you have to put the subject, the year level, quarter, and the date examination. So here, we have the learning competency, the number of hours, the classification of objectives. Ito yung sinasabi ko na that's why you have to understand the Bloom's taxonomy, the number of tests, and the percentage. And we also have the total. Ayan. So as you can see, di ba, malamat siya. So, pero madali lang siyang intindihin. Kayang-kaya natin tong mga English majors. So, let's start with the steps. Of course, you have to secure a copy of K to 12 CG or the curriculum guide. Kailangan alam niyo yun. Alam niyo naman po siguro kung ano yung curriculum guide. Dito natin binibase kung ano yung mga topics na didiscuss natin, ano yung sakop, ilang oras siya. So, ngayon, if you have the copy of CG na, of course, you have to allot each grading period in the table of specification. So, babalik tayo dito. Ilang hours mo siya ituturo. Okay. For example, this one, describe the distribution of active volcanoes, earthquakes, epicenters, major mountain belts. Ilang oras mo siya tuturo? For the whole quarter, ha? 15 hours. Sorry. Excuse me. Sorry. Now, um, here's the formula. You have to allocate the number of hours needed in each learning objectives in the percentage. So, dito tayo. Ilang oras siya? 15. Ngayon, ano gagawin mo siya? Ano pong kailangan mong gawin? I-divide mo siya. So, yung 15, ito, 15 divided by the total. Ito yung total, 30 hours total. I-divide mo siya, then you have to times it to 100. So, ang sagot niya ay 50. So, ito na yun. Diyan mo na makukuha yung percentage, which is 50%. Yan, 50% na daw po siya. Now, kindly disregard na wala pang laman to para lang ma-imagine siya. Ang kinukuha lang natin dito ay yung meron na tayong number of hours. Ang kukunin natin yung number of test items tsaka yung percentage. Okay? Ulitin natin ha. So, ano yung number of hours natin? 15. So, it's 15 times, I'm sorry, 15 divided by 30 times 100. So, the answer is 50. Here, it's 50. Now, gagawin mo lang din siya sa iba. 5, 5 divided by 30 times 50, it's, sorry, 5 divided by 30 times 100. So, it's 16.6. So, i-round out mo na siya. It's 17%. O, next naman, 10 divided by 30 times 100. It's 33.33. So, 33 lang din siya. So, round off ulit. So, total natin siya. So, yung 50, 17, 33. Of course, is 100. Dapat yun yung pinaka-total mo, 100. Now, paano kukunin yung number of test items? Ayun, you have to determine the number of items using the formula. Number of items equals total number of items times of items and with percentage. Okay? So, gawin natin siya. Ito yung unang format na sinabi ko. Ngayon, para makuha mo yung number of test items, kukunin mo yung percentage, 50%, you have to put the percent, ang magiging sagot ay 0.5, and then times mo siya sa 30 ulit, sa number of hours. So, magiging sagot ay 15. Hindi ganun lang din dito. So, basically, kung ano yung naging number of hours mo, parang yun din yung number of test items. Now, after nun, mark the learning competencies, test questions appropriate for the verbs in each level of ability. So, I'm going to teach you na lang din. So, as you can see, depende po ito. Pero ito yung parang suggested na pag 70%. Ayan, as you can see, 70% siya kasi ito yung pinakamarami. Siguro sa science talaga, it's not siguro. But ito yung pinakakailangan ng mga students or the learners. So, ano yung mga items na yun? So, ito na yung mga items na yun. 1, 3, 5, 10, 12, and 13. So, you have to allocate the number of items for each topic in each classification of objective. So, you have to follow the 60-30-10 format of the TOS. So, yun na. Kalat-kalat na yung numbers. Pero, para hindi kayo mahirapan in the future, pag kayo ay gagawa ng isang exam, ang ginagawa ko ay gumagawa ko ng TOS at the same time ng TQ para hindi ako malito. So, TQ or test questionnaire. So, that's it. So, basta, make sure na alam niyo yung Bloom's taxonomy, you know the number of hours based naman po sa ating CG, tapos sa learning competency din natin or competency, dun din natin makikita. Okay? So, 30, yan, makukuha mo na siya. Then, ito yung mga items. Then, that's it. So, that's how you compute it. And so, you know how to um, create your own TUS. So, if you have any questions crafting your own TUS, no worries. Ayan, I am willing to, of course, entertain all your questions. Kasi ito po yung magiging exam nyo rin, like what I said before. Okay, so now let's proceed to utilization of assessment data. So, dito na tayo pupunta sa K-12 grading of learning outcomes. Okay. Okay. So, going back, we have the utilization. Ito na po yung last topic natin. for this semester, we have the utilization of assessment data. Here, of course, we are very familiar about the K to 12 grading of learning outcomes. Ito yung learner-centered na po siya and it's standard-based assessment. It's applicable to formal education, ALS, or the alternative learning system. So, here, we have to consider. Ito yung mga kinoconsider natin, learning environment, delivery modes, individual learner differences. And yeah, the skills assessed in K to 12. Ito yung mini-measure ng K to 12. Cognitive skills. Sa mga non-cognitive naman, yung mga values, motivation, attitudes, behaviors, interpersonal skills. And 21st century skills, yung mga critical and analytical thinking, research skills, creativity, practical application. Ngayon, let's understand the DepEd K to 12 grading system. Kagaya ng sinabi ko, kasama rin po ito sa inyong exam. So, DepEd to K to 12 grading system. Of course, we have the standards and competency based on weighted cross scores. So, meron tayong tinatawag na K to 12 basic education program. Ito yung makikita natin sa curriculum guides natin. So, yung lahat po ng grades natin or grades ng estudyante ay weighted raw scores of the learning summative assessment. So, the minimum grade needed to pass a specific learning area is 60, which is transmuted to 75. Ito yung, di ba, pasang awa, 75 in the report card. And yung pinakamakitang or the lowest mark can appear on the report card is 60 for quarterly grades and final grades. For these guidelines, the department will use a floor grade. So, ano ba yung floor grade na tinatawag? Yung floor grade considered as the lowest possible grade that will appear in a learner's report card. So, yung mga learners from grades 1 to 12 are graded on written work, performance tasks, and quarterly assessment every quarter. So, yun po yung mga ituturo ko ngayon. Okay? So, these three are given specific percentage weights that vary according to the nature of the learning targets. So, how is learner process or learner progress recorded and computed? Sa kindergarten guidelines or sa kanila, wala naman sa kanilang grades na tinatawag, 'di ba? Nakakaloka naman kung magbibigay tayo ng grades sa kinder. So, ano bang magiging basehan natin? Of course, meron din silang sariling way how to grade. Okay? So, pag sa kindergarten, of course, minsan mini-measure sa kanila yung checklist, anecdotal, records, instead of numerical grades. So, yan yung mga based on learning standards found in the kindergarten. So, it is important pag kayo ay isang preschool teacher. And it's important for teachers to keep a portfolio. Yung portfolio na yun, it's like a record of or compilation of the learner's output. Pag nagsusulat sila, nagdo-drawing sila, yun yung magiging concrete evidence kung ano sila as a kindergarten. Okay? So, through that kind of checklist, mas ma-understand natin kung sila ay applicable to proceed sa grade 1. 'Di ba? So, hindi natin siya pwedeng bigyan ng ganong klaseng grade. Okay? So, next, for grades 1 to 12, yan. Sa grades 1 to 12, ito na yung may mga numerical na sila. So, for grades 1 to 12 in grading period, there is like a one quarterly assessment, but there should be instances for students to produce written works to demonstrate what they know and can do through performance tasks. And of course, we also have the quarterly assessment. So, paano ba kino-compute yung kanilang grades? So, to compute the percentage score or the PS, divide the raw score by the highest possible score, then multiply the quotient by 100%. So this is shown below. So makikita nyo yung PS or the percentage score. We have the learner's total raw score. I-divide natin siya sa highest possible score. Tapos ita-times natin siya sa 100. Okay, for example, si learner ay ang highest possible score natin ay 160. Nakuha niyang total sa written work ay 100. Yung 100, i-divide mo siya sa highest possible score which is 160, then times mo sa 100. Okay? So percentage scores are then to convert to weighted scores to show the importance of each component. Okay? Component in promoting learning in the different subjects. So to do this, the percentage score is multiplied by the weight of the component found in table 4. So ito po. Weighted score equals percentage scores or score multiply weight of component. So, ito yung mga weight of components or weight of the components for grades 1 to 10. As you can see, nagbabago yung component or yung percentage depende sa subject. Pag written work, ang mataas automatic dyan yung mga language, 'di ba? AP is ESP, Science, Math. Written works yan. Written works includes activities, um, quizzes, ayan. So, yun po yung mga kasama. Then, sa MAPE, maliit lang siya. 20% lang siya tsaka sa EPP and TLE kasi more on practical siya, di ba? Pag performance task, di hamak na mas malaki ang MAPE, EPP, TLE. So, medyo mataas din yung sa languages like Filipino, English because mas it's like a big tendency na talaga sila yung magsusulat. Okay? And science, math, ganun din, 40% mas less. Then, quarterly assessment, it's all the same, 20% lahat, lagi. So, ito na po. Okay? Yan na yung parang always remember na ito ang kanilang way of components. Dapat yung lagi tatandaan yan, ha? Huwag nyo kakalimutan. Lagi nyo tatandaan na mas malaki lagi ang MAPE and that is 60% ng PT. Okay? Make sure to understand it. Remember this. Okay. So, of course, this is only applicable for grades 1 to 10. Grades 1 to 10 lang po siya applicable. Yan. Sa senior high, meron silang different set of weights for each component. So, sa table na to, makikita nyo kung ano yung parang wave component nila. So, for example, ito yung meron tayong mga tinatawag na core subjects and all other subjects. Sa academic track to, TVL, all other subjects, and work immersion. So, for example, written work, 25% core subjects, all other subjects, 25%. Yung work immersion, di ba? Lagi namang may work immersion kahit anong strand, 35%, and then 20%. And then performance task, parang same-same lang din na mas malaki talaga pagdating sa practical or demonstration, 60%. Quarterly assessment, kung last time ay 20%, this time 25, 30, 25, okay, and 20. So, naiiba po. So, make sure to familiarize yourself with the way component or the grading system of senior high school as well as the grades 1 to 10. Okay? So, next. Po yan. Sorry, bumalik. Ito yung pinaka-sample class record for English grade for first quarter. So, the quarter grade for each learning area is written in the report card of the student for better understanding. So, ito yung sample ha. Ito yung highest possible score. So, ito yun. Ito yung mga activities na ginawa nila. For example, 7 activities ang kanilang ginawa for the first quarter. Total niya, 160. Highest possible score po nila yan. So, now, si learner A, ito ang nakuha niyang score. 18, 22, 20, 17, 23, 26, 19, 145, 90.63 ang naging total. Diba? PS na yan. So, percentage na yan. So, now, percentage score. Now, dito sa performance task, ito rin, meron din siyang si learner A, performance test niya, ito po yung pinaka-highest possible score, ito yung mga nakuha niya. So, paano ba natin siya kukumputin? So, nakita niyo na po, di ba? Okay. Ngayon, ganito po ang computation niya. So, first, percentage score for the PS equals to learner's total raw score divided by the highest possible score times 100. Balikan natin. Ano daw? Learner's PS niya, ito, 90.63. So, learner's total score, i-divide na natin siya. Okay, then divide. Highest possible score is 100. Then, times 100. So, ito yung nakuha niya, 90.63. Okay, kasi ito yung total niya, 145. Tapos 90.63. Then, for you to get the weighted score or the WS, for you to get the WS equals percentage score, yung percentage score niya, then times mo siya sa way of component. Okay, ito, ipakita ko sa inyo. Ito yung kanina na-explain ko, total raw score, highest possible score times 100, weighted score. Pag nakuha mo na yung weighted score, pakita ko sa inyo. Ito si learner 8. Kunwari, ang highest possible niya is 160. Ang learner total niya, learner A total ay 145. So, 145 divided by 160 times 100, it's 90.63. Ito yung nakuha mong kanyang total for the written work. Ngayon, yung written work, iaano mo siya ta-times mo siya sa 30. Bakit 30? Kasi di ba ang written work natin, for example, ito ay English, language subject, ita-times mo siya doon. So, 90.63 times 30. 90.63 times 0.30. It's 27.19 since you have to round it. Okay? So, same na siya sa ano magiging output ni learner A. Ngayon, paano naman computein ang performance task? Ganun pa rin naman. So, anong highest possible niya? 120. So, kasi learner A ay nakukuha ng 100. Divided mo siya sa highest possible score, 120. Times mo siya sa 100. So, nakuha niya is 83.33. Ngayon, ita-times mo siya sa 50 kasi yun yung performance task. So, times 0.50 equals 41.66. Round off, it's 41.66. So, yun yung performance test. Now, quarterly assessment naman. Kunwari, ang nakuha ni learner ay 40 out of 50. 40 divided by 50 times 100. 80. Ta-times mo siya sa 0.20. 60. So, now, kukunin mo lahat ng initial grade niya. Itong written work, performance task, saka quarterly. So, times plus natin na 27.19 plus 40, so 41.67 plus 16. Ang kanyang average, ang kanyang initial grade ay 84.86. Ngayon, meron tayong tinatawag na transmutation table. So, I'll be putting ito yun. Ito yung transmutation table. So, itong transmutation table, ano yung pag chinek mo siya? Anong official grade niya? So, 84.86 magiging quarterly grade niya ay 90. So, final result is 90. Okay? So, that's it for this topic. Ito po ang ating references. So, yun lang naman po ang ating topic for today. We're done with two topics, two remaining topics that I mentioned. So, I hope you understand this lesson. So, if you have any questions or concerns, of course, feel free. Makakita na naman ako. So, feel free to ask me. You can definitely visit the campus as well. Okay? So, thank you so much and bye.